Ladies and gentlemen, before the start of deliberations on today's topic, let me have the privilege as the president of NISSMAT to introduce this international institution. Established in 1990, it has now become a think tank organization with association of more than 90 experts and scholars on various subjects who provide inputs to us. Our forum has conducted a number of webinars and interactive sessions which have received massive response. I am sure our session today would be of great interest to you all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here from NISSMAT going to start our second dialogue on Hamas-Israel conflict or war. The background of this conflict, we have already explained the first dialogue, how it started, the historical background. However, I request Major General retired Deepak MAA, who is the director of our institute, to recap the background and then give us a reason as to how Hamas could get into the Israel territories and Holocaust, which resulted in retaliation and this continuous war for the last more than 30 days. General Deepak MAA, please.
Thank you, sir. As a short recap to what Mr. Sipal Singh has mentioned. In 1897, the first Zionist conference took place, and they realized that they need to have one specific place for themselves. In 1917, the British declared the Balfour Declaration, where it was decided that the Jews need to have a separate entity and a separate place for them to be staying in. And after the Second World War, that is August 1945, President Truman of the US, he proposed that 100,000 Holocaust survivors, the Jews, be taken into Palestine. This was not agreed to by the Britishers. They wanted numbers to be smaller. And in 1948, there was a discussion in the UN where they made a UN partition plan. It entailed the creation of independent Palestine and Jewish states with special international force or regime for the city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem was an important place for all the three communities. That's the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. And because the Muslims had the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which was important, that's the core issue of the Palestinians. And the Jews had the Mount Temple, which is again very important for them. And the second aspect of this proposal or the partition plan was that the British forces which was in Palestine should withdraw. There should be no British forces there. The third aspect was the 56% of the land of Palestine to be given to the Jews, which was a major aspect of friction between the Palestinians and the Jews. As far as what Mr. Sipal has mentioned about this operation on the 7th of October, where a large number of these Hamas came into the Israeli area and create mayhem in killings, about 1,400 civilians, taking hostages, about 240 of them. And there was very little reaction by the Israeli Defense Forces. In my opinion, I feel that there was a failure of the interpreters. The intelligence operators, like the Shin Bet, which was responsible for getting the intelligence from across the border, was more focused towards the internal aspect. That is when the Prime Minister wanted to change the judicial system. This led to large demonstrations within Israel. Apparently, I think the focus of Shin Bet shifted from external to internal problems. As far as the intelligence setup of the Israeli Defense Forces were concerned, they were mostly based on technology. And third tier was along the fence or the border with the West Bank. All the three failed, in my opinion, because the Hamas carried out reconnaissance of the border. They carried out certain exercises closer to the border. They moved heavy earth-moving equipment closer to the border for breaking the fence. Apparently, all the three agencies did not carry out the proper analysis of what was happening. And there is one report says one of the neighboring countries gave a warning that something big is going to happen. Apparently, that was not taken into consideration. And that, I feel, was the major reason why the Hamas operation was a success. Sir, I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah.
The question is, why is this war going on when, in spite of the world talking of ceasefire? And
Yes, it's a very pertinent question. One can understand to some extent, which you explained, the laxity of the Israeli forces, which encouraged the Hamas terrorists to go in and create this Holocaust, which resulted in retaliation. The retaliation is all right, but retaliation to the extent of elimination of a large number, large-scale bombardment, elimination of huge number of civilians, killing of the children, attack on the hospitals, attack on the refugee camps. This has aroused the conscience of the right-thinking people as to whether this is a correct way, whether you are, for a reason one, you are going to give a collective punishment to everyone. We understand that Hamas had not done. It's condemnable. What Hamas did was condemnable. But for this particular action, you give collective punishment to thousands of people who have been killed. So there have been talk going on that we should have ceasefire, that we should stop it now and come to some conclusion and negotiate. But somehow or the other, it has not happened. The US lobby in US is one of the major reasons that they do not want the US to exercise its wholehearted influence on Israel to stop. A major role in that case also is the economy of US, I will call it.
Yes.
Because US is going to have elections next year, and they do not want their economy to suffer, in the sense that large-scale weapons, arsenal, manufacturer of guns, manufacturer of arms and ammunition, this all is going and being supplied to Israel. So the lobby, the arms manufacturing lobby, is not in favor of stopping this war. Then the US understand that is absolutely important and necessary to somehow or other demolish Hamas. They also feel that we should now finish Hamas now, because they feel there's a sort of Islamic jihad. They think that they had suffered at the hand of Islamic jihad during Osama bin Laden. So the Islamic jihad should be finished by this constant, continuous attack, devastation, which is being carried out by the Israeli forces. Best way to deal with the possibility of this sort of regional war is through negotiation and by virtue of influence of the American lobby. No, that is not happening. Americans are playing equivocal. You see, though you will be surprised to know that recently, Black American who is living in America is a very well-known author, Mr. Coates.
Yeah.
He is a Booker's Award winner, and also he is well reputed. He visited this war zone. He went from place to place, and he has given his assessment how every place, at every naka, at every point, the Israel armed forces were asking him, what is your religion? He says, I told them that there's no question of religion. I'm an author. No, but what is your religion? He says, I have no religion. They said, no, what is your father's religion? He says, my father taught me not to bother about religion, be humanitarian. He said, no, what is your father's religion? Then he says, I told him that he's a Christian. Okay, go ahead. So he says, this is sort of apartheid, which is being perpetuated by Israel. I mean, they are in the process of sort of cleaning operation, complete cleaning, that there should be only Jews this area, the Arabs should go away. So this sort of attitude, that also is resulting in this war continuing. Another point, it is all equivocal statement. A few days back, Israel said that as and when we take over Gaza, after that, we'll clean it completely and have it good governance, give them all facilities and everything. Yesterday, a day before, the American Secretary of State said, no. Whenever the ceasefire is that, at that time we'll decide whether Gaza is to be under which particular government and which particular government, whether it will, we will that time decide as to who is to rule Gaza. I mean, there's a sort of equivocal, this side, this, that side. So this sort of statement is going on. Three, recently, the American Secretary of State visited and they had the G7 meeting, as you know.
Yeah.
G7 meeting, this point was discussed. And the G7 meeting, it was discussed, all right, we should try to bring end to the hostilities, this thing, that thing. But again, was with a cap from the American. No, the ceasefire is not the issue at the moment. At the moment is that they should be release of hostages. Release of hostages is no doubt an issue. There's no doubt an issue. But that does not mean that for release of hostages, you go on killing hundreds and thousands of people, and you go on killing innocent children, and there are pregnant women who have been killed. These are some of the reasons which go to indicate that there has been an almost equivocal stand by Americans. And America is interested at the moment, either it's an economy, or in the interest of coming election, or in the interest of completely eliminating the jihadis. I mean, this way you can't bring a sort of ceasefire. Total, you see, surprisingly, that there was a question how many people have been killed. The reply was given by somebody that it is about 5 times the Israelis have been killed compared to them. If 5,000 people, I mean, 5 times the Palestinian, if Israel is 5,000, then Gaza, Palestine, and Hamas, 20,000 people have been killed. You know, imagine the loss, the human loss. Then they say there is a question of giving some infrastructure. Where from infrastructure comes? Apparently, Hamas has kept civilian forces at bay. They have been constructing tunnels. You have no intelligence that tunnels are going to be there. They're underneath tunnel and they're going to have their people there. You have no intelligence about it. All of a sudden, you have woken up there are tunnels inside and all. So all this has become a sort of messy affair. One side, they say, all right, we'll have a ceasefire. But this ceasefire will be only temporary. They call it tactical ceasefire. What is a tactical ceasefire? 1 day, 2 days. Second side, say, no, there should be ceasefire. One side, they say,
may I intervene here, sir? The aspect of U.S. Interest in this area. Qatar has paid, or rather invested large amounts of money in the universities of U.S. The major universities of U.S. have also come into Qatar. Americans are fully aware of the fact that the money was being given to the Hamas from Qatar. There is one report to say about $5 billion have been given for the construction of these tunnels within the Gaza Strip. Now, Mr. Blinken visit to the Middle East, where he met the Arabic leaders, he met the King of Jordan. Nothing came out of it. But there is no adverse comment which has been given by the Arabic countries. They only said that the ceasefire should take place because there is a reason for it. They feel that the Islamic Brotherhood, which is a threat to the Arabic Peninsula, all the states there are basically monarchies, and if Hamas, if they win the war, it is a threat to the other Islamic countries in the peninsula. As you mentioned about the heavy losses, but sir, if I recollect, before the ground operation started, the Israelis have thrown pamphlets into Gaza, North Gaza, for the civilians to leave. Apparently, those civilians could not leave because they were human shield to Hamas. Now the corridor for a couple of hours has been open. Yesterday itself, about 50,000 Palestinians from North Gaza, they went down south. So,
Well, I'd like to intervene. I'd like to intervene 1 minute. You see, Israeli troops, as you know, the latest reports are the Israeli troops have advanced to the heart of the densely populated area of Gaza. Densely populated area of Gaza. Absolutely. They have advanced to that. It is said that according to an announcement made by Israeli sources, that they are going to catch the chief commander of their in that tunnel close by. They said that we're going to have. And when the G7 countries say that there should be a humanitarian pause, what is the humanitarian pause is not known. And the end they say, however, that doesn't mean that there should be ceasefire. They fall short of calling a ceasefire because of the American influence. The very important thing is the Secretary of the State of USA himself has stated that calling for a ceasefire, they do not want to take a risk. Try to understand. These are the words of Secretary of State about 2 days back. That calling for a ceasefire, they do not want to take a risk and leave Hamas and these rabid forces with the capacity to repeat the 7th October incident again and again, which means that there is no interest to bring ceasefire. I clearly said that we do not want to bring ceasefire than to give opportunity. That means they want to have complete devastation and complete destruction of Hamas, which is not possible. And then at one time, Israel government has stated that after dealing Gaza, as I told you, for Hamas territories, they plan to maintain a control over the coastal enclave. I mean, they say that after demolition and all in the Gaza, on the coastal enclave, they'll keep a check and they'll maintain their whole control. On the other hand, when it goes to the statement of the Americans, they give a statement, no. The USA says that the decision on the control of various areas in and around Hamas and West Bank can be taken only after the ceasefire. Now, what is this? While Israel is saying that we are going to control area, we'll have this area under us and all, will give them similarity. On the other hand, USA says, no, it will be decided after that. What I am trying to say, sir, that in conclusion, my feeling is the war has already caused a very staggering loss of human lives. The reported number of deaths are more than about 25,000, both the sides, if not less than that, if not more than that. Outrage is on every day. On the other hand, you find that still we are in a lackadaisical position, whether we ask a ceasefire or not ask a ceasefire. I am of the view there is yet to be seen who will take over the security responsibility of the area, this enclave, after the ceasefire. It is yet to be ascertained whether the US has to decide firmly or not firmly that in future Gaza is going to be under which particular regime. Who can force Israel to stop this war? You tell me.
There was some talk about this Palestinian Authority, which is in the West Bank, after the war gets over, to take over the Gaza Strip, which is again a question mark. Israel is not will only move out once Hamas is fully destroyed. But destruction of human beings of Hamas is one, but destruction of the ideology, that is a very difficult job, and they're going a long time. And all the other countries also wanting the Hamas to be taken up, because if Hamas wins the war or has the upper hand with Israel, it sends wrong messages to the other inimical groups like the Hezbollah and the Islamic Jihad and other groups which are operating there. Jordan in particular is little worried, because the large number of population in Jordan is Palestinians.
I like to ask you to conclude with your few remarks as to what do you think, in your view, ultimately, that what will the view of some of the Arab countries? Well, you have got Iran, you have got Egypt, you have got, what is ultimately going to view of this? And then we'll move on to the third dialogue on that, because by that time we'll see how far this war is taking shape. But I'll say that your concluding remarks, you tell me, how will the Arab countries, they will react, are likely to react, or what they are doing present? Or Iran, what is its attitude? Because there are a lot of things which circle around these countries also.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I feel the war will continue till the time the foot soldiers of Hamas are obliterated in the Gaza Strip, and thereafter some sort of a rehabilitation will take place. I'm sure the World Bank, the UN will come into place. As far as the casualties are concerned, fighting in built-up areas, every house, every corner it can be held. It's very slow moving. A lot of destruction, collateral damage takes place. So I hope that soon some sort of a ceasefire takes place, and the civilians, the humanitarian aspect comes into play, sir.
My point was, in addition to that, or how the aid from the Arab countries is going to escalate it or going to stop it. How the Arab countries are going to behave, Arab countries or Muslim countries are going to behave in this war. Then we'll come to next
one,
and see as
next one. Yes. It's been a pleasure to be interacting with you. And next session, we'll take on the next step, the effect of this operation amongst the Arab countries, the West, and also the countries just supporting Israel, sir.
They're supporting some of them.
Sir.
Oh, I see. And I'll conclude with one remark, that today, unfortunately, again, the Secretary General of the UNO, particularly which has started this resolution for ceasefire, which failed because of abstention of some people, and the resolution could not be through for ceasefire. Again, he has made effort yesterday. And again, till now, he has not been able to get the majority opinion to have the ceasefire agreement, or UNO should give a sort of resolution that ceasefire should be brought forth. So I feel that UNO is getting completely diluted if they are not able to manage a conflict, in a regional conflict. Tomorrow, if the war breaks out somewhere else, what the people are going to bother about the UNO? You have diluted the role of UNO completely. I mean, it means the Western countries or the Asian countries, ultimately everyone is having some block, G7 countries, 2 + 2, quadrate. Where is the role of UNO left? If UNO cannot even have a resolution.
I am fully with you, sir. The role and the hold of the United Nations, per se, is very, very poor. I mean, no one listens to them. That's the point.
Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed this conversation with me, and at least I can say I have enjoyed this dialogue with you. Thank you very much, General Mata. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks very much. Pleasure in interacting with you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.